Jussie Smollett was in court to get his latest set of charges dismissed. The latest set of charges being the 6 new counts of disorderly conduct that Special Prosecutor Dan Webb has brought. Those are the new ones, plus reviving the old charges as well and seeking monetary damages from Jussie Smollett as well. Well, he wanted to get them dismissed, and the judge said no. So let's read this. Yeah, that's the look right there, man. That's the look. Jussie Smollett has lost his legal fight to get his latest charges dropped, while the controversial state attorney who first tried to end the case slammed the BS decision to obsess over the actor's prank. Well, he did something that was pretty lame, and he should be held accountable. That's what I believe. It wasn't a prank. He was lying to try to advance himself, and he used police resources. He played on the heartstrings of Americans. It was bad all the way around, and he should see consequences. She just doesn't want people to look into it because she's heavily involved into it too. Because, the whole thing around Kim Fox was really weird too, because she dismissed the charges after meeting with Michelle Obama's aide advisor or the head aide advisor, whatever her name was or whatever her position was, and then all of a sudden the charges were dismissed. Then Kim Fox tried to go to special prosecutor and say, well, this was a common occurrence in the office. And then special prosecutor Webb said, well, okay, show me evidence, show me proof that this is something that you do on a normal basis. And they couldn't produce any cases that said, yeah, that showed that we've done this before. So something with that whole thing is just quite bizarre as well. But that's a whole nother story all in of itself. Lawyers for the embattled former Empire star argued in an emergency petition that a judge overstepped his authority and misinterpreted the law when he ordered the appointment of a special prosecutor. But Illinois Supreme Court on Friday refused to throw out the charges, which again accuse him of staging a racist, homophobic attack, and this video is going to be hit, so please give me a thumbs up just for reporting the news. It's going to get hit. YouTube hates people being informed. I swear to God they do. Homophobic attack against himself. The court gave no explanation for its decision. While the actor failed to get the special prosecutor removed from the case, Chicago State Attorney Kim Fox angrily defended her decision to initially drop charges, saying his low-level offense was just a prank. Well, perhaps maybe it started off as a prank, but a prank is something you do solely for, giggles and things like that. This wasn't a prank. This was something that he did to try to advance himself in a personal manner in some way, shape, or form. And I've said from the beginning, I don't even believe it was about getting more money for his show. I think that's him, CYA. Since this video is going to be hit anyways, cover your ass, CYA. I think he was looking for those all-powerful victimhood bucks. In some cases and in some circles, victimhood bucks are way more valuable than real money, and I think that's what he was going after, personally. But no matter what, it was something that he did that was nefarious, that he did for personal gain. And it wasn't just a prank. And no matter what, it would have caused monetary gain for him as well. And it was something that could have hurt somebody. What if they had found somebody and they said, well, this is the person that we think it is, and we're prosecuting them, and then you ruin someone's life? I mean, come on. It wasn't just a prank. The issue with Smollett, excuse my language, it's BS, Fox said on the Ben Joravsky show Thursday, marveling at how it was still such a dominant case for such a troubled city. Yes, because it's something that grabs your attention. It's like a train wreck or a car wreck. You don't want to look, but you got to. You're like, God bless it, man. There but for the grace of God go I. And then you look at it, and it was a case that tried to pull on people's heartstrings, and it did pull on people's heartstrings. It pulled on a very tender part of the United States that, a lot of people in some circles, that's like their battle cry. So yeah, of course people are still slightly fixated on it. It's something that's like, what? We have an abysmal homicide clearance rate. We have horrible violence, and the attention is on this case about a low-level offense with an actor who pulled a prank, she said with clear disbelief. Yeah, okay. You have to defend it, Kim Fox. You've painted yourself in a corner. You don't have a choice. So, of course, you're going to defend it to the bitter end because as of right now, especially with elections and things like that, you don't have a choice. You've got to defend your actions to the bitter end, no matter what. And then maybe 10 years from now, you'll be like, well, maybe I was wrong. I'm not saying it wasn't offensive. I'm not saying it wasn't something that garnered our attention. But a year later, when I'm sitting with parents who are mourning the loss of their children, she said, the city plagued by a terrible homicide rate. Fox said that regular Chicago folks thought that this case was stupid and have moved on. And the fact that those in power have chosen not to, I think, speaks volumes, she said. And I'm not saying anybody should be fixated and just like glued to the case, but it is something that's like, wow, something that happened. It's part of history. It's part of the news. I would wager that Kim Fox would complain if anybody at all was reporting on it. She would say, why are you fixated on it? Why are you fixated on it? Why are you fixated on it? And we all know somebody, or have all seen somebody at situations where they do something wrong, and then people are looking at them like, well, why did you do that thing wrong? And then all of a sudden they come up, well, why does it matter? I mean, why do you care? Why do you care? Why are you fixated on it? Why are you writing me? Quit writing me. Quit asking me questions. Because of course they don't want the attention on them. I mean, what are you supposed to think? And by Kim Fox saying, don't pay any attention to the man behind the curtain, she's instigating the Streisand effect. Like, what do you mean don't pay attention? What do you have to hide? Well, I believe Kim Fox has a lot to hide, quite honestly. And I said from the very beginning, I was one of the only few people and one of the first people from the beginning when Kim Fox dropped the charges, and I said this is unprecedented for any prosecuting attorney anywhere. This is unprecedented. This just doesn't happen. This isn't normal. When she was coming out and saying, oh yeah, we do this all the time. And I said, no, you don't just drop them like that without any disclosure, without any closure, without any disposition. No disposition. Fox clarified her views on Friday, telling the Fran Spielman show, I don't think the case itself is BS. I think the fact that we are a year out since this case was disposed of, that we're continuing to talk about this in a city that continues to deal with gun violence, deserved the slur, she said. Well, yeah, but here's the thing. People are a little desensitized to the gun violence because it's every day, This is something that's like, this is one of the elites. This is someone that's up there. This is someone that lived in an ivory tower and has fallen. Of course, that's going to attract the attention of people, Kim Fox. I mean, obviously. And on the other side of the coin, obviously, you don't want people to pay attention to it. You obviously want it to die out. So, I mean, of course you're going to say this. That somehow this case has been elevated to one of the greatest criminal injustices in our time feels disingenuous, Fox said. That statement I agree with. It is not one of the greatest criminal injustices of our time. It is not. I just think that it is something that is interesting to see, something that is interesting to hear about, read about, talk about, and say, wow, this happened. This is a part of history. We are all taking a part in a huge part of history. And that's what the news is. That's why the news is important. It's embedded in history. And history will prove who has spewed fake news and who has not. I talked to too many family members of victims of violence who are frustrated that we spend more time talking about this case than the unsolved homicide rate. And you should talk about your homicide rate, yes, but you shouldn't, people should also be able to talk about this. But yes, he deserves to have consequences. Absolutely, he deserves to have consequences. He did something that was like, hey man, you can't do that. And what lesson, it's all about like lessons. I mean, we have the law there for a reason, and it has to be applied equally. And what lesson are we teaching our kids if there's visibly one rule for the elites and one rule for the rest? What are we teaching our kids? Hey kids, equality. Yeah, daddy, but what about this? This doesn't make sense. Well, you kind of got me there on that one. But if you speak out on it, and your kid comes up to you, then you can say, hey, you know what? You are absolutely right. It is an injustice, and I have been speaking out on it, and I have been reporting on it. And it should be equal justice. He should face consequences for his actions. That's just, and it should be equal consequences. The consequences should be equal to the crime. He shouldn't, be made an example of or anything like that. It should be equal. It should be equality. That's how we show future generations that equality exists, as we treat everybody equally. I love you guys. You guys stay informed, and I will see you guys on the next one. And give me a thumbs up. Just reporting this. YouTube hates this. YouTube hates my channel, period. But give me a thumbs up. That'll help me out. I love you guys. See you on the next one.